Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to kick off this presentation on the design activities that make up the first 3 phases of the engineering design process. The slide you're seeing now, credited to Morris Asimo, highlights the 3 key phases: conceptual design, embodiment design, and detail design. The purpose of this graphic is to serve as a reminder of the logical sequence of activities that take us from defining the problem all the way through to detailed design. Over the course of this presentation, we'll explore each of these phases in detail, understanding how they connect and guide us through the engineering design journey. Let's get started. Now, let's move on to phase III, which is the detailed design stage. Here, the focus is on determining the overall product architecture, which means figuring out how all the parts and components will fit together to form a cohesive system. This is a critical step because it sets the foundation for everything that follows. Next, we work on the configuration design of parts and components, where we specify how each element is arranged and assembled to optimize functionality and manufacturability. Following that, we delve into parametric design of parts. This involves defining key parameters that control the dimensions and features of each component, allowing for flexibility and easier modifications later on. It's important to see how detailed design builds upon the earlier phases, starting from the conceptual ideas in phase I and the embodiment work in phase II. Each step refines our understanding, ensuring that the final product not only meets customer needs, but is also feasible to produce efficiently and reliably. This phase is where everything comes together in a detailed, concrete form, setting the stage for manufacturing and implementation. Let's take a closer look at this slide, which is all about interaction design. As you can see, the image from interactiondesign.org really captures the essence of creating meaningful user experiences. The key point here is that interaction design focuses on how users engage with a product or system, making that experience as intuitive and satisfying as possible. It's not just about making something look good. It's about designing how users actually interact with it. Clicks, gestures, feedback, all of that. This connects directly to our overall theme of designing user-centered solutions. When we think about interaction design, we're really emphasizing the importance of understanding user needs and behaviors, then creating interfaces that respond seamlessly. It's about making technology feel natural and effortless, which ultimately leads to better engagement and satisfaction. So, as we move forward, keep in mind that effective interaction design is the bridge between the user and the technology, ensuring that our designs are not only functional, but also enjoyable to use. Design thinking is a nonlinear, iterative process that teams use to understand users better, challenge the assumptions they might have, and redefine problems in new ways. It's really about creating innovative solutions by constantly prototyping and testing ideas. What makes it powerful is that it's most useful when tackling ill-defined or even unknown problems, those tricky challenges where there's no clear answer yet. The process typically involves 5 key phases. Empathize, where we really get to understand users' needs. Define, to pinpoint the core problem. Ideate, generating a wide range of ideas. Prototype, turning ideas into tangible forms. And test, to see what works and refine our solutions. This approach is all about flexibility and iteration, which means we're continually cycling through these phases, learning and improving as we go. And it ties directly into our overall theme of innovation, showing how structured creativity can lead to practical, impactful solutions. Let's take a closer look at this slide, which is based on an image from interactiondesign.org. As we explore, I want to emphasize how understanding user interactions is fundamental to effective design. The key idea here is that designing with the user in mind involves considering how they will engage with our product or service. This means we need to think about the touchpoints where users interact, whether that's clicking, swiping, or even just reading, and ensure those interactions are seamless and intuitive. The visual in the image illustrates this beautifully, showing the flow between user expectations and the actual interface. Highlighting these points helps us see that good design isn't just about aesthetics. It's about creating a smooth, satisfying experience. When we connect this to the overall theme of our presentation, it's clear that understanding and optimizing interactions is what transforms a good product into a great one. It's all about making technology work for the user, naturally and effortlessly. Let's take a closer look at what design thinking really is. As Tim Brown, CEO of IDEO, describes it, design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation. That means it focuses on understanding and addressing the real needs of people. It's about drawing from the designer's toolkit, things like empathy, creativity, and experimentation, to develop solutions that truly resonate. At its core, design thinking helps us integrate three key elements: the needs of the people we're designing for, the possibilities offered by technology, and the business requirements that ensure success. This balance is what makes it so powerful. Why is this important? Because in today's fast-changing world, simply having a good idea isn't enough. We need to understand our users deeply, leverage technological advancements effectively, and create solutions that are feasible and sustainable for the business. So, as we move forward in this presentation, keep in mind that design thinking isn't just a method. It's a mindset that guides us to innovate in a way that truly makes a difference for people and organizations alike. Design thinking plays a crucial role in fostering innovation. In today's fast-paced world, companies need to innovate continuously to survive and stay ahead of the competition. When we talk about design thinking, we're referring to a collaborative approach where cross-functional teams come together. These teams work closely to truly understand user needs, which is essential for creating meaningful solutions. By focusing on understanding the user, teams can develop solutions that genuinely meet those needs. Plus, the design thinking process often leads to uncovering creative solutions that might not be obvious at first glance. This process encourages out-of-the-box thinking and helps organizations stay adaptable and innovative. So, why is design thinking so important? Because it's not just about solving problems, it's about creating value through innovation, which is key to thriving in today's ever-changing environment. On this slide, we see how design teams utilize design thinking to address what are known as wicked problems. These are complex, ill-defined, or unknown challenges that don't have straightforward solutions. Unlike traditional problems, wicked problems require a different approach. Design thinking encourages us to think outside the box, to challenge our assumptions, and to come up with innovative ideas. It also emphasizes taking immediate action rather than waiting for the perfect solution, and then continuously iterating based on feedback and new insights. This iterative process is crucial because it allows us to refine our solutions, adapt to changing circumstances, and better understand the problem as we go. All of these qualities, thinking creatively, acting swiftly, and iterating often, are core hallmarks of design thinking. So why is this approach so important? Because in today's complex world, many challenges we face are not simple or straightforward. They demand flexible, innovative, and responsive solutions, exactly what design thinking provides. It helps teams navigate uncertainty and develop effective, sustainable solutions to even the most wicked problems. Design thinking offers practical methods and tools that some of the biggest companies in the world, like Google, Apple, and Airbnb, use to drive innovation. It's not just about ideas, it's about applying proven strategies to create real-world solutions. From architecture and engineering to technology and services, organizations across various industries have embraced this approach. They use it to tackle complex problems and find new opportunities for growth. So, why is design thinking so important? Well, it encourages a human-centered perspective, making sure that solutions truly meet the needs of users. It fosters creativity, collaboration, and a mindset of continuous improvement. When you think about the overall theme of innovation and problem-solving, design thinking is a powerful tool that helps turn ideas into impactful results. It's about staying ahead by being flexible, empathetic, and open to new ways of thinking. Let's talk about the ultimate goal of design thinking. Essentially, it's about creating solutions that are desirable, feasible, and viable. These three elements form the core of successful design. When we say desirable, we're focusing on understanding what users truly want and need. It's about empathy and making sure the solution resonates with people on a human level. Feasibility, on the other hand, is about whether we can actually build and implement the idea with the resources and technology available. It's about practicality and technical possibility. Finally, viability relates to the business side, ensuring that the solution can sustain itself economically and aligns with strategic goals. Connecting these points, the best designs are those that hit all three marks: desirable for users, feasible to realize, and viable for the business. When we achieve that balance, we're more likely to create solutions that are meaningful, practical, and sustainable in the real world. This is the essence of the end goal in design thinking, and it ties back to our overall theme of creating impactful, user-centered innovations. So, the design thinking process is really centered around satisfying three key criteria. First, desirability. This is all about understanding what people truly want and need. It's about empathy and uncovering those genuine desires. Next, we have feasibility, which asks whether it's technically possible to build the solution. This involves considering the technology and resources available. And finally, viability. This is about ensuring that the solution can actually make a profit for the company and be sustainable in the long run. Typically, teams start by focusing on desirability because understanding the user is the foundation. Once that's clear, they bring in feasibility and viability to see if the solution is practical and financially viable. The ultimate goal of design thinking is to create solutions that are desirable, feasible, and viable all at once. When you achieve this balance, you're more likely to develop innovative, user-centered solutions that also make business sense. This approach helps us stay aligned with the overall theme of creating impactful, sustainable innovations. Now, let's talk about the starting point of the design thinking process. It all begins with understanding the needs, dreams, and behaviors of the people who will actually use the product or service, the end users. Instead of jumping straight to solutions, we take a step back and really observe and listen. It's crucial to approach this with empathy, meaning we genuinely try to see the world from their perspective. We want to understand what they truly want and need, not just what we think they want or what the organization assumes. This focus on desirability is about meeting people's needs in a meaningful way. When we do this well, we create solutions that are not only functional, but also resonate on a deeper level with the users. So, in essence, successful design starts with listening and understanding, ensuring that the needs of the people are at the heart of our process. This is how we build products and experiences that are truly valuable and user-centered. Once the team has identified one or more potential solutions, the next step is to assess whether those solutions can actually be put into practice within the organization. It's important to understand that, in theory, any solution could be feasible if we had unlimited resources and unlimited time to develop it. But in real-world scenarios, feasibility is about more than just ideas. It's about whether the organization has the necessary capabilities, tools, and infrastructure to implement these solutions successfully. This is what we call being technologically possible. So, when we talk about feasibility, we're really focusing on whether the technology needed exists, whether it can be integrated into the current system, and whether the organization has the means to support it. Remember, even the most innovative idea is useless if it can't be realistically implemented given the organization's constraints. This step ensures that our solutions are not just ideal in theory, but practical and achievable in practice, aligning with the overall goal of creating effective, sustainable user-centered solutions. So, even if a product is both desirable and technically feasible, that alone isn't enough to ensure success. It's crucial that the organization can actually generate revenues and profits from the solution. Without that financial viability, even the most innovative ideas may struggle to survive or scale. This viability lens isn't just important for commercial organizations aiming to make money. It's equally vital for nonprofits. They need to ensure that their solutions are sustainable and capable of generating the resources necessary to continue their mission. Ultimately, when we're designing and assessing solutions, we have to ask, will this be financially sustainable? Will it bring in enough revenue or support to keep it going long-term? That's what viability is all about, making sure that profitable or resource-generating potential aligns with the broader goals of the organization and the overall success of the project. Let's take a closer look at Stanford University's Hasso-Plattner Institute of Design, commonly known as the D-School. It's really renowned for its innovative approach to design thinking, which has influenced many fields. Their process is structured into 5 key phases: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. These stages serve as a roadmap for tackling complex problems creatively and effectively. However, what's really interesting is that these stages are not always followed in a strict, linear order. Instead, teams often run them in parallel, jumping back and forth between phases as needed. They might start with empathy, then move into ideation, and later revisit testing, all depending on the project's requirements. This flexibility is a core part of design thinking. It's about being adaptive and iterative. So the key takeaway here is that these 5 stages are interconnected and dynamic, allowing teams to refine their ideas continuously. This approach aligns perfectly with the overall theme of innovative problem-solving and staying adaptable in a fast-changing world. On this slide, we see that the team's goal is to understand the problem thoroughly, and the best way to do that is through user research. This step is essential because it helps us get a real sense of what users need and experience. Empathy plays a crucial role in design thinking. It allows us to set aside our assumptions and biases and instead truly see the world from the user's perspective. By doing this, we can uncover insights that might not be obvious at first glance. This first stage, often called empathize, is all about researching users' needs. It's the foundation for creating meaningful solutions because understanding users deeply helps us design with purpose. So, in essence, empathy isn't just a nice-to-have, it's the core of effective problem-solving in design thinking. It helps us connect with users on a meaningful level and ensures our solutions truly address their needs. Once the team has gathered all the information, the next step is to analyze the observations carefully. We look for patterns, insights, and recurring themes that emerge from the data. This helps us understand the core issues more clearly. After analyzing, we synthesize all these observations to define the main problems we're trying to solve. These problem definitions are called problem statements, and they serve as a foundation for the next phases of the project. To keep our solutions human-centered, we often create personas, detailed profiles of typical users, to help us stay focused on real people's needs and experiences. This stage, the define stage, is all about clearly articulating what users need and the problems they face, so we can develop effective, targeted solutions moving forward. Now that the foundation is in place, it's time for the teams to really get creative and think outside the box. This is where they start to brainstorm alternative ways to view the problem, encouraging fresh perspectives that might not have been considered before. The goal here is to identify innovative solutions that directly address the problem statement. During this stage, we challenge assumptions, questioning what we usually accept as given, and create new ideas that can lead to breakthrough solutions. Remember, this phase is all about exploring possibilities without constraints, fostering an environment where creativity and open-mindedness can thrive. This approach not only helps generate unique ideas, but also aligns perfectly with our overall goal of innovative problem-solving. This is an experimental phase. The goal here is to identify the best possible solution for each problem we're facing. Sometimes, that can be as simple as creating paper prototypes to quickly test ideas. This stage, Stage 4, is all about starting to create solutions through prototyping. It's a crucial step because it allows us to turn ideas into tangible forms and see what works and what doesn't. Remember, the key is to experiment and learn from each iteration, keeping our focus on finding the most effective solutions for our challenges. Now, at this stage, the team tests these prototypes with real users to see if they actually solve the problem we identified earlier. This is a crucial step because it helps us gather real-world feedback. When users interact with the prototypes, we observe how well they address the needs and challenges we've been focusing on. It's important to remember that these tests often reveal new insights, things we might not have considered before. Based on what we learn, we might decide to refine or improve the prototypes further. Sometimes, the feedback might even send us back to the define stage to revisit and clarify the original problem. This stage, which we call test, try the solutions out, is all about validation and learning. It's how we ensure that our solutions are effective and truly meet user needs, guiding us towards better, more refined solutions. These stages are not really a straight line or a step-by-step process. Instead, they are different modes or ways of approaching the design project that contribute to the overall process. And what's really important to remember is that these modes aren't sequential. They often overlap and inform each other. The main goal here is to develop a deep understanding of the users, what they need, what they value, and to imagine the ideal solution or product that truly meets those needs. This understanding guides every part of the design, helping us create solutions that are meaningful and effective. So, as we move through these different modes, keep in mind that the ultimate aim is to connect with users on a deeper level and craft designs that really resonate with them. So let's talk about the product lifecycle. It's a really useful tool that helps us determine the best strategies to use at each stage of a product's development, especially when it comes to sales and marketing. By understanding these stages, we can tailor our efforts to maximize growth and profitability. The product lifecycle has 4 distinct stages. First, there's the market introduction stage, where the product is launched, and we're working to create awareness and stimulate demand. Next is the growth stage, where sales start to increase rapidly, and the product gains acceptance in the market. After that comes maturity, a period where sales growth slows as the product reaches peak market penetration. Finally, we have saturation and decline, where sales decline as the market becomes saturated or consumer preferences change. Understanding these stages is crucial because it helps us align our marketing and sales strategies with the product's current phase in its life cycle. This way, we can allocate resources wisely and plan for the future. Remember, knowing where your product stands in its cycle allows you to make informed decisions and stay competitive in the market. Each of these points highlights how different business actions can actually help improve the profitability of a product. You see, whether a product is just starting out, growing, maturing, or declining, the strategies we choose need to align with that specific stage. That's why designers and marketers must tailor their approaches based on where the product currently is in its life cycle. So, what exactly is the product life cycle? Well, it's a concept that describes the various stages a product goes through from its introduction to the market all the way to its decline and eventual retirement. Understanding this cycle is crucial because it helps us decide the right actions at the right time to maximize value. By focusing on the product stage, we can optimize our strategies, whether it's improving features during the growth phase or managing costs during decline. This approach ensures we're not just applying a one-size-fits-all strategy, but are instead making informed decisions that enhance overall profitability. This concept ties back to our broader goal, building products that not only meet customer needs, but also sustain business success over time. So, recognizing and responding to the product lifecycle is key to designing smarter, more effective strategies at every step. Now, let's talk about the product lifecycle. It assumes that most products don't last forever. Instead, they go through different stages over time. At each of these stages, as a business, you'll encounter a unique set of advantages and disadvantages, setbacks, and opportunities. Understanding this cycle is crucial because it helps us anticipate challenges and seize opportunities at the right moments. So, what exactly is the product life cycle? It's a way to describe the typical progression of a product from its introduction to the market, through growth, maturity, and eventually decline. Recognizing these stages allows us to adapt our strategies effectively, making sure we maximize the product's potential throughout its lifespan. This concept ties directly into our overall theme of managing products strategically to sustain success over time. To meet these challenges, the business needs to adopt different strategies at various stages of the product lifecycle. This means tailoring our development, design, and marketing approaches depending on where the product is in its journey. So, what exactly is the product lifecycle? Essentially, it's a way of understanding how a product evolves over time, from its introduction to the market all the way through growth, maturity, and eventually decline. Recognizing these stages helps us plan more effectively, allocate resources wisely, and implement strategies that maximize the product's success at each point. It's a crucial concept that ties directly into how we manage products and ensure long-term profitability. Answer is, the product lifecycle is an important tool for marketers, management, and designers alike. It helps us understand how a product evolves over time. The cycle specifies 4 distinct stages of a product's life. Each stage offers unique challenges and opportunities. By understanding these stages, we can develop strategies to maximize the product's success at each point. This, in turn, promotes the overall success of the product in the marketplace. So, what is the product life cycle? It's a framework that guides us through the different phases a product goes through, from introduction to decline. Recognizing these stages allows us to make informed decisions and adapt our marketing efforts accordingly. It's a key concept that ties directly into understanding how to manage products effectively over time. Linda Gorchels, in her book, The Product Manager's Handbook, defines the product life cycle as a framework that describes the stages a product goes through from introduction to decline. She also highlights some key assumptions that form the basis for understanding this cycle. First, one important assumption is that the product life cycle is a predictable pattern. Although the timing can vary, the general stages, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline, tend to follow a similar sequence. Another assumption is that each stage has distinct characteristics, like sales patterns and competitive dynamics, which can help us plan our marketing and management strategies accordingly. It's also assumed that external factors, such as technological changes or market shifts, can influence the length and nature of each stage. Connecting this to our overall theme, understanding these assumptions allows us to better anticipate challenges and opportunities as products evolve. It's about being proactive and strategic throughout each phase of the product's life. Products, in general, have a limited lifespan. That means, eventually, every product will pass through a product life cycle. Now, each of these phases offers both opportunities and challenges for a business. It's important to recognize that at every stage, the company can leverage certain strategies to maximize success or address potential issues. During different phases of the product's life cycle, the efforts needed from various departments like design, development, marketing, and purchasing will vary. For example, early on, you might focus heavily on innovation and promotion, while later, the focus shifts toward cost management and extension strategies. According to Linda Gorchels, these assumptions help us understand that managing a product's life cycle is a dynamic process. It requires adapting our approach as the product evolves, always aligning our efforts with the current stage to optimize results. This concept ties into the overall theme that strategic management throughout the product life cycle is key to long-term success. It is worth noting that while products are often discontinued at the end of their life cycle, the business itself usually remains. This means that even when a particular product phase concludes, the company continues to operate and often gets involved in other products or new ventures. So, the end of a product's life cycle doesn't mean the end of the business. Instead, it's part of a broader strategy to adapt and evolve, ensuring long-term sustainability. This highlights an important concept in the product life cycle. Discontinuing a product is a natural part of the process, but the business's ongoing involvement is what really drives growth and innovation. It's important to note that the diagram of the product life cycle we see here is an idealized representation. In reality, most products don't follow this perfect curve exactly. There can be sudden dips in sales during the growth or maturity stages, which might not accurately reflect the true position of the product within its life cycle. So, when we're trying to determine what stage a product is in, we need to look beyond just the curve. We should consider various indicators, such as sales patterns, market conditions, and customer feedback. Recognizing that real-world products often deviate from the textbook model helps us make more informed decisions and adapt our strategies accordingly. Understanding these nuances is crucial in managing a product effectively and ensuring we respond appropriately to market changes. So, as we've seen, there are no absolute indicators that can tell us exactly where a product is in its life cycle. That's because each product and market is unique, and many factors can influence its stage. However, there are general indicators that we can look for. These are based on our observations over time and can give us useful clues about where a product might be. By paying attention to these signs, we can better understand how a product is performing and what strategies might be appropriate at each stage. This approach helps us navigate the product lifecycle more effectively, even without definitive markers. Remember, the key is to observe trends and patterns rather than relying on one single indicator. This understanding ties back to our overall goal of managing products wisely throughout their life cycle. It is important to note that a product life cycle is a complex thing. Some products have life cycles that are measured in months or years, while others can last for decades or even centuries. This variation makes managing the product life cycle quite challenging. When we think about the challenges of using the product life cycle, it's key to understand that each product's journey is unique. Factors like market demand, technology changes, and competitive pressures all influence how long a product stays relevant. Recognizing these differences helps us better plan and adapt our strategies accordingly. Ultimately, understanding these complexities is crucial for making informed decisions and sustaining success over time. Rising sales do not always indicate growth, and falling sales do not always signal decline. It's important to recognize that some products, like Coca-Cola for example, may not experience a decline at all during the lifetime of the business management team. Coca-Cola has enjoyed relatively consistent sales for over 100 years, which shows that not all products follow a typical life cycle pattern. When we talk about the challenges of using the product life cycle, one key point is that sales trends can be misleading if taken at face value. Just because sales are rising doesn't necessarily mean the product is expanding in the way we think. Conversely, declining sales might not mean the product is failing. It could be stabilizing or maintaining steady demand. Understanding these nuances is crucial because it helps us avoid making hasty decisions based solely on sales figures. It reminds us to look deeper into the context, the brand strength, and market conditions. This aligns with our overall theme of strategic management, being aware that the product life cycle isn't a one-size-fits-all model, and that some products defy typical expectations. Because of this, it's crucial to remember that the product life cycle is more of a guideline than a strict rule. We need to apply a lot of common sense when using it to make decisions. It's not something to follow rigidly without considering the specific context. In particular, identifying when a product reaches maturity or enters decline can be pretty tricky. These phases aren't always clear-cut, and trying to pinpoint them precisely can be misleading. That's why, when making strategic decisions, we should proceed with caution. Rushing or relying solely on the cycle's stages might lead us away from the best outcomes. Instead, we should combine the cycle with market insights and judgment to make informed choices. Overall, understanding these challenges helps us better navigate the product's life cycle and adapt our strategies to real-world conditions, aligning with our broader goal of sustainable growth and success. The PLC, or product life cycle, serves as a helpful guide for a business as it moves through different stages of a product's life. It's important to remember, though, that it's not meant to be a rigid or strict tool. Instead, it provides a framework to understand where a product is in its journey and to plan accordingly. Product designers tend to be most involved during the introduction, growth, and maturity stages, where their expertise can really influence the product's success. When a product enters decline, designers often move on to new projects, as the focus shifts to managing or phasing out the existing product. The key takeaway here is that the PLC offers valuable guidance, but it's flexible. It helps us understand the natural progression of products and aligns our strategies accordingly, all while remaining adaptable to real-world changes. This concept ties back to our overall theme of strategic planning and understanding market dynamics. Never forget the valuable advice from Philip Kotler, the renowned marketing expert. He emphasizes the importance of not only watching the product life cycle, but also paying close attention to the market life cycle. While products do go through stages of introduction, growth, maturity, and decline, markets themselves can also evolve or even disappear over time. This means that as marketers and business strategists, we need to stay vigilant and adaptable. It's not enough to just manage the product. We must understand and anticipate shifts in the entire market environment. Remember, markets can come to an end just like products, and recognizing these signs early can be the key to maintaining a competitive edge. This insight ties back to our overall theme of strategic agility and proactive planning in marketing. Let's look at some famous examples of products that, despite making it into production, didn't quite resonate with their audiences. For instance, Sony's Betamax, Coca-Cola's New Coke, Pepsi's Crystal Pepsi, and McDonald's Arch Deluxe. These are all products that initially generated a lot of buzz, but ultimately failed to impress or sustain consumer interest. According to Business Insider, these stories are quite well known. But what's interesting is that Harvard Business Review has even dedicated an entire piece to explaining why most product launches fail. This highlights a key point. It's not just big brands that struggle with getting their design and launch process right. Many businesses and even individuals face similar challenges. The takeaway here is that successful product development isn't just about creating something new. It's about understanding your audience, testing your ideas thoroughly, and making sure your product truly meets their needs and expectations. This is a core element of the overall theme, the importance of effective design and launch strategies in avoiding costly failures. So, to wrap things up, I want to emphasize that the key points we've discussed are all interconnected and essential for understanding the bigger picture. First, we've seen how crucial it is to focus on the core principles that drive success in this area. These principles serve as the foundation for everything else. Then, we explored how implementing these strategies can lead to tangible improvements and positive outcomes. It's important to remember that progress often comes from consistent effort and adaptation. Finally, I hope you've gained a clearer understanding of how these concepts fit into the overall theme of innovation and growth. By applying what we've covered today, you can make more informed decisions and foster development within your own teams or organizations. Thank you for your attention and engagement throughout this presentation.